A coach told every parent I was a predator at my son's game. I was sitting in the bleachers when Coach Whitmore grabbed the megaphone and pointed directly at me. Parents, I need everyone to know there's a registered sex offender in these stands right now. Every single head in the crowd turned toward me. My 8-year-old son froze mid-run on the field, his cleats digging into the grass as he stared at me with pure confusion. I felt my face drain of all color. My wife grabbed my arm so hard her nails broke skin through my sleeve. The woman next to us pulled her daughter close and moved 3 rows back without a word. I'd been coaching Little League in this town for 6 years before Whitmore transferred from another district last month and took over as head coach. He immediately started pushing me out. First, he forgot to CC me on practice schedules even though I was assistant coach. Then, he told parents I had attendance issues and couldn't be relied on. When I confronted him privately after practice, he smiled coldly and said the team needed fresh leadership. I backed off completely because I didn't want drama affecting my son's experience. I figured that would be the end of it. The week before the championship game, my son came home crying so hard he couldn't breathe. He said Coach Whitmore pulled him aside and told him his dad wasn't allowed at practices anymore because of serious safety concerns. I called the league director immediately. She sounded genuinely confused and said there were no restrictions on my account and no notes about concerns. I figured it was a misunderstanding. But that night around 11, I got a text from another team dad asking if everything was okay because the coach told several parents I was being investigated by authorities. I stared at my phone in the dark with my hands trembling. I spent 3 days calling everyone I could think of. The police department had no record of any investigation. The school district had nothing. The league had nothing. Nobody knew what Whitmore was talking about, but the damage was spreading like wildfire. Parents pulled their kids from carpools with my son. One mom I'd known for years blocked me from the team group chat without explanation. My son's best friend told him he wasn't allowed at our house anymore. I watched my kid eat lunch alone at the field while other families huddled together, glancing at me like I was radioactive. But it got worse. The night before the championship, someone spray painted a horrible word across my garage door in red letters 2 feet tall. My wife found it at dawn and was still sobbing when police arrived 40 minutes later to photograph the damage. The responding officer kept looking at me with suspicion the entire time. I knew then I couldn't wait for this to blow over. That morning, I called a private investigator and gave him every penny from our emergency fund. 3 days later, he called with information that made my blood freeze. Whitmore had been terminated from his previous district, not for performance issues, but for falsifying documents and harassment. The investigator emailed me a PDF of the official termination letter from Jefferson County Schools. The reason was crystal clear: creating fraudulent reports about a parent volunteer to have him removed, then pursuing a relationship with that parent's ex-wife after the family collapsed. He'd done this exact thing before. I printed that letter and brought it to the game in my jacket pocket. When Whitmore grabbed that megaphone and publicly called me a predator, I didn't run. I walked down from the bleachers slowly with steady hands. Every parent was watching. My son stood crying on the field. Whitmore smiled like he'd won. I connected my phone to the field's Bluetooth speaker, the same one used for the anthem, and played the voicemail Whitmore left on the league director's phone, legally obtained by my investigator. His voice echoed across the field. Just add a note to his file saying concerns were raised. Keep it vague. I'll handle the rest. Dead silence. I held up the termination letter. This is from Jefferson County. He was fired 18 months ago for destroying another father's life the same way. Whitmore's face went gray. A mother stood and said her husband coached with him there and knew the whole story. Another parent called police. 3 dads blocked Whitmore's path to the parking lot. My son sprinted across the field and wrapped his arms around me. Daddy, I always knew you didn't do anything bad. Whitmore was arrested and charged with criminal defamation and filing false reports. The league gave me his position, and my son scored the winning run at championships 3 weeks later.